Noting the presence of quorum, and I call the Boxborough Select Board meeting to order. Today is Monday, December 11th, and the time is 7:04 p.m. All right, first order of business, we have Citizens Academy graduation. John.
All right, so good evening, everybody. This is actually an amazing day, a little bit of a sad day as well, but today marks the graduation for Boxborough's first ever Citizens Academy. Just to give you an overview of this program, the purpose of this program was to give residents an opportunity to learn more about how town government operates. They had sessions that gave them an overview of the boards and committees, the town clerk, public safety, human services, land use and development, as well as learning more about town meeting as well as the town clerk's office. And for our first program, this was, I would say, a huge success. Just truly thankful for, one, everybody who participated in this program, and also I just wanted to give a big thank you to all of the departments, boards, committees that participated in preparing presentations for this session as well. But before I continue on, I actually want each one of some of the participants to share what you've learned and to just enlighten the board about some of the things that you may not have known about how Boxborough operates that you're aware of now. So take any hands for anybody who wants to share about their experiences with Citizens Academy.
I was pretty ignorant coming in. I thought it was very well done. I thought very well prepared. I learned a lot. I did have a little bit of feedback, which I sent in. It's supposed to be anonymous. But I really would love to see this expanded because I think it's the basis for our democracy to understand how the town runs, how the boards and committees operate. And my basic thing in the town committee, and I've probably nothing you can do about it, but more cross-fertilization among committees. Everything seems to be a little bit in their own path, and I think it would be, and I know it rolls up to the administration oftentimes, but I think opportunity for the different groups to talk to each other, following all the rules that are required, I think would be terrific for the town. And I always made comments about climate and impact on climate and the decisions around, heat and water and floods and extreme weather, and I think we really have to put that in our planning in the future. But thank you so much to everybody, and Rajan, to you, it was great. Really appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. We'll look forward to you serving in one of our committees soon.
And cross-fertilizing. Is anybody else? Steve?
Hi. So first, a thank you for hosting and organizing this, Rajan. It was very, very well done. I like the timely emails in advance, having the slide material to review. I took the opportunity sometimes to print and put questions and notes on there so I would come prepared, and that was very helpful. Also, really glad that the people of the town just gave so generously of their time, of the various presenters who came and gave us their time. I've always seen like a slice of the town at the town meetings, right? So you get to see a lot of the issues and the personalities, but you just see the very surface touched there, right? And what we saw through this was a lot of the background work product that went into making the town meetings productive, right? Because that's an awful lot to get through in 2 or 3 nights, all those warrant articles, and now I have a better understanding of how they got there and how well they were vetted. And sometimes you see the ones that weren't as well vetted too, and it's you could really spot the difference between the ones that really went through the process. But the other thing that I got out of this is that the members of these various committees are very invested in the work. They're very passionate about what they do, and I also appreciate that they're volunteers. They're giving of their time for this. So there's a few professional paid people, like the police department, the head of the library, the fire department, but quite a few of the nuts and bolts of keeps the town running are just volunteers, and that's pretty amazing. Also, a shout out to the BXB-TV. I've actually had the occasion to now use the video archives and look at some of the footage, and I found that useful too.
What's one committee that interests you?
I kind of knew that was coming, and I have to say that temperamentally, I'm kind of interested in FinCom, though at the moment, and at the moment, it's not a good timing for me. But I've seen what they do and how they do it, and I think that that might be a place. I also like the conservation work, and I live on Sergeant Road, and so I can see that maybe some trailblazing on the new trail would be some more trailblazing. I know that it's started, but I'd love to see a connection to Rolling Meadow.
Yeah.
Okay, I've bushwhacked there already. Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
Have any other participants who want to share? Okay.
I'd like to ditto everything that's been said so far. We only get half a diploma because we missed half the meetings, but not on purpose. The schedule just went crazy on us. But I think that it's very easy for people to be critical of their condo association, town government, whatever. It's just very easy to do when you don't know the people and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And for me, I just found it, to see the faces behind everything that's going on and to see how committed everybody was and how much they cared about their town, I just thought that was wonderful. And if you're going to do it again, I'd like to be able to attend the ones we missed. But for a little while I lived in Austin, and just before we moved, Austin, I guess they'd done it for a while in Texas, was doing the same thing as a big city. And I think that more towns and cities should do that. You know, I think it would be a good thing. So thank you for everything you did, and to everybody who participated.
And your favorite committee, based on what you...
Oh, out of the few. I don't know. What would I say? I thought they were all great. I can't pick
Awesome.
one. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Thanks for asking, though.
we have openings in many, so your pick.
I would add, as a select board member attending, it's really, I think, helped me to do my job better. You know, getting to talk to all the people in the different departments. There was not a bad presentation in the bunch. I think the disappointment for me was that there weren't more people taking advantage of it, and I can't say enough about it. I mean, if you have an investment in the town at any level, I mean, it's just so good. I mean, we had the last one was the police department. We had a blast. You know, everybody we were laughing and enjoying candy canes and looking over the equipment. But you did a great job, Rajan, and thank you for that. And I hope next time, you know, that people will listen to, you know, hear this and listen to us and know that it's absolutely worthwhile. So.
Thank you. First off, thanks for everybody who shared. And what I would just really encourage is don't let this be the only opportunity. Continue to be engaged. We have plenty of board openings. We have plenty of committee openings, as well as your participation in town meeting, which is vital to a lot of the business that goes on in town. So I just really encourage you to continue to support your local government, continue to stay involved, continue to stay engaged. So just for the next phase of this, I have a few certificates, and also we have town pins for everybody who participated in this program. So this is just to signify that you're a member of the Boxborough team now. And we're going to go ahead and go through those, as well as just the opportunity to take a group picture with the select board and the town administrator. But I'm going to go ahead and go over the the participants and just give you your certificates of completion.
Just one quick thing. So you don't have to join a committee to go to the meetings and contribute. You are more than welcome to just show up and then give them your ideas and leave. Like, you're not, and you don't have to stay for the whole time.
That's a really good point. Right, that volunteer at any level is valuable.
And I think it's really heartwarming to hear, like, how well the town staff, the committee members, everybody were so involved and engaged. I think we are so grateful for this town to have such wonderful people, right, at all levels to help us.
Yeah.
So I'm about to go through each one of the completion winners. So when you hear your name, just come up and I'll hand you your certificate as well as your badge of honor for participating in the program. So for the first participant is Steve Jeffries.
Taking pictures. Oh, pictures.
Thank you. I think we're going to do a group photo at the end.
Oh, group photo at the end, okay.
The next participant is Marjorie Camp. The next participant is Mary Sullivan. The next participant is Taylor Holzer. So the next participant is Taryn Light.
And I've wanted one of these pins for a long time.
The next participant is Jane Carter. The next participant is John Pacelli.
I just want to say the reason we missed the meetings, I had a knee replacement. And I knew this was going to happen, so I had
The next participant is Dave McKiernan. The next participant is Barbara Burt. We actually had a few participants who weren't able to make it today, but I'll be in contact with them afterwards to get them their certificates as well as their opinions. But I just want to thank everybody for participating in this program, for making it just a great opportunity. I also want to give a special thanks to Kirby and BXB-TV for all the work that he did.
Thank you, Kirby.
For all the work that he did in recording these sessions and making them available to the public. I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity, as well as the Select Board for allowing us just to get started with this program and implement it. It's been a great opportunity, and I hope that you spread the word about Citizens Academy for next year, and thank you for participating in this program. And you're officially graduates of Citizens Academy. Now let's take a group photo with the Select Board.
Did you want to say something?
I should have dressed up for the occasion.
Mike?
We want three, we can do three.
How does it go?
You tell us, Karen, you tell us.
We can go right here.
Or you can do that. Let's move that chair out of there. Thank you so much.
Could you graduate? Hey, Marjorie, down again.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, gotta get to the bunkers, you have to open them up.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
That way I can tell which one.
oh, okay.
Well, everybody else.
We knew.
You know, that's the joy of digital.
Yeah.
Sure, you going down together on the quest?
You need to squeeze it a little?
I have a wide angle lens. Okay, here we go. Now, Rajan said he wanted a picture too. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Where's that lovely smile? There you go. Where's the sneakers? What would you like?
Take one. Good.
Come on.
Come on.
It's on air. Come on.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Meeting you all.
Good job.
Or thank you, young man. Oh,
I know. I think I probably met everybody there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mike would like to say a few words before you guys leave.
So while everyone is making their way back to their seat or out the door, whichever may be the case, I want to especially thank your instructor and organizer and coordinator, Rajan Hudson, for a tremendous job.
Great job. Thank you.
This morning, he brought your certificates to my office and asked, should these be signed by the town administrator or the select board? And I said, the select board has a member getting a certificate, so I don't think he should sign his own certificate. And you did all the work and coordination, and it was his idea. So I think it's only appropriate that all your certificates are signed by Rajan. Thank you for a terrific job. This is his second time doing this. He ran this same program in Lexington. So he warmed up there, and now you got the full boat. So thank you for participating.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, time for
Thank you.
jammies. Oh, say that.
Right. Okay. Our next business is hazard mitigation plan. Is Jamie going to be?
Jamie will be on there, and Alex should be on there to make the introduction.
Okay. Alec, you want to take it away?
Happy to do so. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for your time tonight. Earlier this past year, we had an exciting opportunity come knocking on the door. As you know, we're always looking for grant funding to support municipal activities, but we're especially happy when that grant comes knocking on our own door, or in this case, calling me directly. I was really happy, or I am really happy to report that MEMA reached out to the town and indicated to us that we would be eligible to have our hazard mitigation plan covered due to our environmental justice population. So we endeavored to assemble a brief grant application, which ultimately ended up with Jamie Kaplan of Kaplan Consulting LLC, a real expert in the field, coming our way. So at this point, I'm just going to turn it over to Jamie. Jamie, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for helping us through this very important work that we've undertaken.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you hopefully a good understanding of what your hazard mitigation plan is and what the planning process is all about. I do have a system for you all to participate in the meeting, and this will work especially well for the people on Zoom. So if you open an additional browser window and go to the website menti.com, MENTI.com, you don't have to download anything, you just put in that code 82 655-539. And that'll give you the chance to participate in the meeting. So I'll give you a second to do that. And for those of you who are in the room, if you want to do this on your phones, you can. It's not too hard. And I'm going to let my dog out just 1 second. Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I am not in my office. Okay, and this slide will come up again for you. So if you've had a hard time or didn't find it, it will come back. But for those of you who are there, let's start with just kind of a practice question, if you will. What do you like most about Boxborough? And no right or wrong answers, just give me a sense of what makes your town special to you. The people, that is a good start. And that it's a rural feel to the community, that makes sense. Open space, I like that. Public services, quiet, lots of trees, that's going to come up later in our conversation. Support from the community, community's engaged and brings together a diversity of opinions, that's nice. Excellent schools, good. So this gives you, it gives me a sense of what you like about your community, but it also gives you a sense of how this Mentimeter works. All right, so what we're gonna do today, some brief introductions, then we'll get into what is hazard mitigation and what is in a hazard mitigation plan. We will work together to identify natural hazards and what we call critical facilities. And then we'll brainstorm together some possible, what we call mitigation actions and some next steps. So you should leave here today with certainly a good understanding about what the plan that we're writing is all about. So to give you a little background, my name's Jamie Kaplan. I have a contract with the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. As Alec mentioned, this is my team, and we've been working on behalf of the state through the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. Just over 2 years ago, they gave us 14 hazard mitigation plans throughout the state to update. They then extended that contract to give us 6 more communities, yours being one of them, and their intent is to give us another 11. So we've been pretty busy and will be for the next 2 years, I suspect, updating plans throughout the state. We've also done a lot of work in the state as well as nationwide, aside from this contract. So hazard mitigation planning is a big piece of what we do, and we've been doing it, each of us, for well over 20 years. We're an aging consulting team. And I like to say that we're really good at hazard mitigation. We're good at what we do. We know what we're doing. But we don't know your community, and that's part of why we have meetings like this, so that we learn about your community and what you're interested in. The plans we write are not cookie cutters. They really need to reflect your community. So talking to you is one of the best ways we can do that. So let's get into what hazard mitigation is. FEMA defines it as any sustained action taken to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to life and property from hazard events. We will focus on natural hazards, and that's a requirement that FEMA has, that your plan includes all natural hazards. It doesn't say we can't include man-made hazards, but we don't. And we'll come up with actions that minimize risk based on what can happen to people, property, and the environment. So it's been proven that for every dollar you spend mitigating risk, you're saving approximately $6 or more on future disaster losses. So Kind of an easy example would be if you have a culvert, one of those drains, it looks like a drain at the side of the road. If it's small and it fills up with debris and it breaks or water backs up and your road floods and washes out, that's going to be very expensive, right? It's going to cost a lot to fix the culvert. It's going to cost a lot to fix the road. People aren't going to get to work or school, which is expensive. And there could be a hazard or an accident because of it, what have you. The list of problems can go on and on. If you replace that culvert so that it's the right size and you take good care of it so that it stays clear and open, you're good to go, right? And it's a lot less money to do that. And that's the kind of mitigation action that we're looking at. It's the kind of thing we're talking about. So your plan will have the following chapters or big pieces to it. The first is a community profile, which really sets the stage for what's in Boxborough, who lives there, what are the demographics like. It will talk about what your built environment looks like, what your infrastructure is, just really sets the stage for the plan itself. Then your hazard information and risk assessment looks at all the possible natural hazard risks that can occur and what can happen to your community based on those risks. Then we also do what we call a capability assessment. This is where we look to understand the community or your town's capacity to mitigate risk pre and post disaster. So that really identifies your strengths as well as areas or weakness or challenges. And based on the information that comes from your risk assessment and your capability assessment, we develop the mitigation strategy, which is the portion of the plan where we say, here are the projects that the town wants to do to lessen your impact to these natural hazards, to reduce your risk, and to become more resilient. And then finally, we wrap up the plan with an implementation and maintenance chapter. So there are many benefits to developing a hazard mitigation plan and participating in this process of developing the plan, as well as having a plan in place. The plan will identify cost-effective actions to reduce risk. So we're not looking for any old harebrained idea, if you will. We're really trying to understand what makes the most sense and what is the best use of the town's resources. We want to focus your resources on your greatest vulnerabilities. We also want to assist you in building partnerships, because when you mitigate risk, you're looking at natural hazards that cross government boundaries, as well as may impact more than one type of entity, right? So it makes sense to, for instance, work with a private school as well as your school district, to work with your neighboring communities. When we look at something like winter storms or flooding, for instance, that can cross over government boundaries. So we want to build partnerships to mitigate risk. The planning process as well as the plan should increase awareness of hazards and risk. You want to become more informed about what your risks are, and then in turn what you can do about them. The plan will communicate the town's priorities, not my priorities, your priorities. What you value and what you care about needs to be communicated in this plan. So things like you mentioned from that first question, that rural feel, the open space that you have. You want to protect that open space. That needs to be communicated in this plan. And we want to align with your other objectives. Whatever the town has said you want to do, our plan should be consistent with that. And ultimately save lives and money when you implement the plan. So a hazard mitigation plan, we began our planning process in September with a kickoff meeting with Alec. And the planning process should wrap up around April, when your plan will go to the state, to MEMA, Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, for their review. When the state feels comfortable with the plan, they send it to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, for their review and approval. When FEMA approves your plan, and all of this approval process takes up many months, it comes back to the town for your adoption. Once the town adopts a plan, you're eligible for what we call pre-disaster mitigation funding. So that's when you become eligible for 5 years to apply for grant funding to mitigate risk. And that's one of the biggest reasons that communities write these plans, is then you're eligible for that pre-disaster mitigation funding. When you're looking at this timeline, what's most important for you to see is that top line in green is we involve the community every step of the way in our planning process. So each step we have either a hazard mitigation planning committee meeting, and we'll talk about that committee in just a moment, or a public meeting. So we will have 2 public meetings. We have 4 hazard mitigation planning committee meetings, and then the public review. So the committee will review the plan, and then members of the public, you all have an opportunity to review the plan before it goes to the state for their review. All right, so when we're trying to develop a hazard mitigation plan, the first thing we do is look back to the town's previous plan. Yours is a little outdated. It was written in 2010. We also look to your municipal vulnerability preparedness plan, which some of you probably participated in, and that was developed in 2021, so it's much more current. And we also look to the state's hazard mitigation and climate adaptation plan, which was recently released, so that's very new. It is a federal requirement that the town's plan be consistent with the state plan. So what we do when we look at your old plan is assess what's been done, what's current in that plan, as well as what mitigation actions that were previously identified have now been finished, and which ones maybe weren't done and need to be done. The same with the MVP. The MVP plan includes what we call recommendations. They're not really mitigation actions, but they're close. So we want to get a sense of what's been done with those as well, and which should be carried forward, and maybe which aren't relevant for this plan or don't need to be included. Then we also look to as many other plans as we can find that your community has, right? So if you have a master plan, an open space and recreation plan, stormwater management, etc. We get hold of all those plans, your zoning ordinances and bylaws, and we review all of that, because we're trying to make sure that whatever we develop is consistent with those plans, and that your priorities and things that you want to do are represented in this new plan. I like to think that our plan will be the latest, greatest, if you will, right? So we take all of that and move you forward a little bit. All right, so after we take a look at all of your plans, we put together a hazard mitigation planning committee. And this committee has 4 big responsibilities, if you will. They need to provide supporting data and information to the consulting team, right? As I mentioned to you in the very beginning, we're good at this, but really we know all the questions to ask. You have the answers, right? So we're looking for the committee to help us with those answers. We want to have some help with outreach and stakeholder engagement. So the way that you all found out about this meeting, whether you saw a flyer or a press release, we created the flyer and the press release, but the committee put the word out. Then the committee members are going to assist us in identifying and prioritizing the list of mitigation actions, and ultimately reviewing and commenting on the draft plan. So the committee members at the moment, this is our list of who's on the committee. This list can grow and change through our planning process. Right now, everybody who's listed here is a member of the town government, if you will. But we can certainly expand that to include folks who are not part of the town, and that's important. So that's something that I'll work with them to do. All right. So after that, we need to come up with this list of natural hazards, that we're going to look at. And so I want your help. So if you just joined us and you haven't opened a browser window, another one, go to the website menti.com, menti.com, put in that code, and you should see this slide and be able to type in your response. So help me make the list. What are the natural hazards you are most concerned with? And for people in the room, we can either put those in chat or you can reach out and let me know. I don't know if we have chat on here. I don't see it. So if someone in the room can kind of, speak up and tell me, that would be good. All right, people are typing in snowstorm, fire, flood, water safety, and it's fine to put in things that other people put in because then they'll get bigger. Down trees, PFAS contamination, drought, wildfires, storm damage, ice, that's a good one. Keep going, think of as many as you can. Weather, severe weather, snowstorms. And if you're really concerned about one of these and you want to type it in, that's fine. They don't know if there's people in the room, if there's information that we should get. Storm damage, water safety. This is a good list. Good. All right. Right. So let me show you the list that we've developed. So this is the list of natural hazards that we're going to look at for your community. As you can see, we've got everything that you included plus a few others. So we do look at extreme temperatures, and that's hot or cold. We certainly have seen a lot more high heat days. We're going to look at drought, earthquakes, not likely, but certainly possible. Flooding, hurricanes and tropical storms, that would be your high winds. We're going to look at invasive species, landslides, severe weather, which you mentioned a lot of, severe winter storms, tornadoes, and wildfires or brush fires. So the list is pretty extensive. And for each of those hazards, we profile the hazard, and that includes describing the hazard, and this is a basic description. What is an earthquake? Then we talk about, well, where can it occur in your community specifically, not just anywhere in the world, but in your community, where can that specific hazard happen? Some of these hazards are what we would consider atmospheric, right? So like extreme temperatures. That's going to be throughout the entire community, whereas flooding you're going to see in certain areas. Then we look to previous occurrences. What has happened in the past? We want to also look to the extent of what's possible. What's the range of what's possible? You could have a very little earthquake to like a small earthquake, but you're not going to have a huge earthquake most likely. So we want to define that. Then the probability of future events. How likely is that hazard going to occur in the future? Something like extreme heat or winter storms, 100%, it's going to happen. Then the vulnerability assessment is where we start talking about, well, what will be that impact to the people, to the built environment, to your infrastructure? Now you might be thinking about climate change, which we look at in a lot of detail, but not as a hazard of itself, but we look to it as how it impacts the other hazards. And part of the way we do that is look to, the state recently completed a climate change assessment. So we get that data, we review this assessment in some detail to get a better understanding of what is at risk in your area of the state, most specifically. And I think I forgot to tell you, I'm in Northampton. All right. Then the next thing we want to do is get a sense of what are your critical facilities. And when we think about critical facilities, we're thinking about what does the community rely on to respond and recover from an emergency. What's most important? I think you can even expand that definition, or I would, to think about what's necessary to maintain the status quo and your standard of well-being, if you will. What's needed? What do you rely on? So that can easily include your first responders, right? Your fire stations, your police stations. You might have a long-term care facility or a hospital or other medical facility, your schools and emergency, which may also be your emergency shelters, your infrastructure, which would most likely include a lot of utilities like wastewater treatment and your water supply, power supply, and any kind of communication facilities. So every community would have this definition, but then each community decides what are their critical facilities, and it's different no matter where you go. So the next step would be for us to start working on what are your critical facilities? What does your town rely on before, during, and after a disaster? You can type these in if you can. And there are no wrong answers, and no one will know who typed in. So you're free, write in anything you want. The health department, police, fire, good response. Good. Water, DPW, perfect. Town hall, fire station, school, police, good. Public safety, infrastructure, fire station, library. Libraries are becoming more and more a critical facility, at least throughout New England. We see it all the time. We include the libraries because they really can function as your heating or cooling centers. They often do maintain power when people in their homes don't have power. All right, shelters. Good, very good. Okay, let me show you the list that we are working with. So at the moment, this is our list. So you can see we've got your town hall, fire station, police station, DPW, the school. We've got the ice rink at the moment, the Regency Hotel, the library, water pump station, communications tower, cell towers, fire ponds. And what we do with this information is we map the information. And this is one of our initial maps, so it gives you a sense of what you'll see in the plan. All right. So then what we want to do is take that list of hazards to begin to understand your risk, which is going to be this intersection of damage and loss created by these natural hazards crossing over with your community assets. So not just your critical facilities, but your population, your whole built environment, your natural environment, and of course the economy. So where is that mix? That's the risk where we'll focus primarily. So when we do that, some of what we do is map that intersection. And this is an example of what happens when we take flood risk with your built environment. And I know you can't see this super clearly, and you will be able to see it better in the plan. But what we're trying to do here with this map is this map says if there was a flood, here would be your impact. In very simple terms, we see that there are 7 single-family homes, 2 commercial facilities that are going to be in the flood zone. They also include your fire station, and the school, they're not in the flood zone, but they're very close. Why are we looking for this interaction? Because then we can figure out what to do about it. And that's the mitigation actions that we want to come up with. And those are the projects that you're going to seek grant funding for. All right. So as we look at this intersection of hazards with people and the built environment, we want to identify what problems exist. What's creating a problem? What happens? So, for instance, in the beginning, somebody said power outages, right? That's what the impact. So think about what would be the impact to the people, to your structures, to your natural environment, your historic resources. Even things like events, right? If you're going to have, maybe there's an annual outdoor fair. Well, if you have a hurricane, that's going to get canceled. That's what we're looking for. So thinking about those impacts, let me know what you think are some of the biggest impacts to people and property in town from any of these hazards that we talked about before. High insurance rates, that's a good response. What happens when these hazards occur? What happens if we have a winter storm? Or what happens when we have a heat wave? Housing displacement, good one. Loss of power, which means loss of water, that's huge. And of course, with loss of power, what else do we need to think about? The vulnerable people, right? Health risks, good one. Difficulty getting around town, difficulty getting access to emergency services, safety, medical emergencies, displacement. These are good ideas, you guys. Loss of property. Good. What else? Health risk. School closures. Any parent will tell you that's a high risk. Physical structure, road or environment damage, communication breakdown. Good. These are the problems, right? And your plan will include a list of problems for each hazard. Okay. So then the next part is these mitigation actions, which I like to think about what are you going to do about it, right? We identified these problems, what can we do? So those actions are those projects or plans or activities that will reduce this level of risk that we've identified. And we come up with those actions from your previous plan. Some things were identified in the previous plan but weren't implemented. You didn't get funding or you didn't get around to it, so we want to move them forward. Some may be recommendations from your MVP plan. That plan focuses a lot on climate adaptation. Those are very relevant, need to move forward. We look to your input and the input of the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee, and then the analysis that we run, the risk assessment and the capability assessment that we run will come up with some additional ideas. When we're looking for those mitigation actions or solutions, all of those solutions fall into one of these four categories. The first is, local plans and regulations. This may be government policies, for instance, land use planning or building codes or other plans and regulations that you have in place for how you develop the community, right? So if you say you cannot build in a high hazard area, you're mitigating risk. Structure and infrastructure. This could be things like replacing a culvert and making a bigger culvert so the water goes through and roads don't get washed out. Natural systems protection. This is anything that can reduce damage and losses and preserve or restore the function of natural systems. So here we're frequently talking about rivers, streams, wetlands. If we let the water go where it's supposed to go, then that will protect our built environment and our people, typically. And education and awareness programs, fairly self-explanatory, very important, and typically not as expensive as some of these other actions. So we look in all 4 of these categories for solutions for all the problems that get identified. So now we need to think about what are going to be the mitigation actions. How can the town mitigate risk from the hazards identified? And we're just about at this stage in our planning process, so your ideas are timely. So let me know, how do you think your community can lessen the impact of these hazards? What would you like to see the community do? There are no bad ideas. Anything is okay. Plan and preparation, yes. Move the fire station. Good one. What else needs to happen? Build a safety complex, that's a good one. Remove beaver dams and fix culverts. Beavers cause so much problems in New England. I think they're the cause of the majority of flooding in New England. Better building codes, good one. What else? Centralize development in convenient areas at low risk. Concentrate open space and recreation near higher flood risk areas. Transfer of development rights. That's a question. That's a good idea. And so frequently if there are properties that repetitively flood, communities can buy those properties and turn them into open space, so that it's fine if a soccer field floods, right? You just don't want someone's home flooding. So that's a good idea. Removing dead trees is very important. Better infrastructure that are climate resilient, yes. Effectively plan and develop contingencies for natural emergencies. Continue to update processes for dealing with these types of situations. Move power lines underground. This is something that comes up frequently. It's very expensive. So power lines that are currently above ground, it's almost prohibitive to move them, but any new development, it's typical that those go underground. Usually communities require that. Thoughtfully prepare grant submission to optimize awards. Stop clear cutting large areas of trees. Good ones. Preserve open space, especially the tree canopy for air quality and carbon sequestration. Elevate awareness of natural mitigation. Caution with interventions that do not disrupt. This one got a little cut off. But I would say the tree canopy one is really important now, especially as we see climate change impacting how many high heat days we have. You know, years ago, and as I said, I've been working in this field for 25 years or something. We really talked about cutting down trees because they were causing power outages and getting in the way of roads and what have you. Whereas now we're talking more about not just doing that, but also planting trees because we need shade and we need air quality and carbon sequestration, etc. So that is a good one. All right. So we are at the stage of doing this planning right now, so I don't have a list of mitigation actions to show you yet, but we certainly will at our next meeting, which will be in March. So at the March meeting, we'll go over mitigation actions in much more detail. I'll also be able to show you more detail about what we found in our risk assessment. So we'll be able to show you some more maps then. And I'll also give you some details about how you can review the draft plan and what you'll see in the plan. So as we wrap up, I show you this graphic, which I pulled off ready.gov, which is a website that I encourage you to take a look at. And these are just things that you can do in your homes or businesses so that you're more prepared for a disaster. It's sort of food for thought, if you will. But it doesn't hurt to learn these things and do as much as you can. I think getting involved with the town and being supportive of the work that the town does is very, very important. So it's good that there's so many people here today, but you also want to do some of these things on your own as well. And that's a good website. It's very digestible information. All right. So that's about all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions? Wes? Dave?
Jamie, the 495 runs through Boxborough. And the only thing I can think of is maybe, like hazardous spills or something, but some things go up the highway that we don't really know what's there. Have you seen that with a lot of other communities? Any concern about what goes on in the highways?
Yes, definitely. We have seen that in terms of what goes on the highways, as well as a lot of communities have train tracks running through them, and it's the same kind of question of what happens with that. And so because this is a natural hazard mitigation plan, we don't go into that in detail. We will make sure that, for instance, the 495 is indicated in the maps, and that we mention that that is adding to your level of risk, of course, and is something that needs to be considered. But we wouldn't mitigate risk to the 495. We just look at how it, how it may impact you. Certainly, if you had, for instance, if there was a tornado that took out a truck that spilled hazardous materials, that kind of thing. But because it's a natural hazard plan, the focus begins with the tornado or the natural hazard.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Jamie, you mentioned about some of the grants that are available. How are those grants, are they different chunks in different areas that we have to apply for, or is it all in one common? Is it one for fire separate, or say tornadoes or snowstorms? Are there different kinds of grants that are available, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there are different kinds of grants, but there are some grants that are specific to flooding or specific to fire, but I can't think of any that are specific to other, well, there may be some earthquake ones, but typically most of your grants are going to be all hazard. So it doesn't matter. There are many different grant sources, or different grants that, for instance, FEMA has several different grants. You will be eligible for any of the FEMA grants by having the mitigation plan, but you're also anytime can apply for grants that other organizations have. All of the mitigation actions that we identify, we will flesh them out with what I call essential details, which we'll get into more in our next meeting. But one of those details lists the grant sources that we think you could use to get the funding for that project specifically.
So the FEMA grants that you talked about, I know you said it's pre-disaster, so they will approve a pre-disaster one? Because when you think of FEMA, I always think of after the fact, so.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So yes, FEMA will respond to any kind of emergency, whether you have a mitigation plan or not. But once you have a mitigation plan, and the next question is who's going to adopt the plan, the select board's going to adopt the plan. So once the plan is approved by FEMA, adopted by the select board, you're eligible for FEMA's grant sources that are pre-disaster. So that's things that you would want to look for now when it's not too cold, it's not too hot, we haven't had a lot of snow yet, you know, so that you don't have a disaster. If you do have a disaster, FEMA responds.
Yes.
If it's, you know, a level to the point where you need federal response. Is that sort of explaining
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Like, I mean, right now, we're thinking about our fire station, and it was clearly in the plan as it's in the flood zone, so
Right.
if it does get approved, we could look into FEMA grants and other grants, I'm assuming,
Yes.
if we are looking to a
You,
different
and you can
place.
look for other grants anytime.
Yeah.
It's just the FEMA ones, they're gonna want you to have a plan in place.
And do we know how much those grants usually run, or is there like a upper ceiling?
Every year it changes,
Okay.
what's the amount of money that's available and when the application period is open, all of that changes. So the other thing with the pre-disaster funding is there's no guarantees, right? So you're gonna have your plan, you're gonna be able to apply. That doesn't mean you're gonna get the money. And it's typically good to apply for big grants as well as little ones because, you know, FEMA might award many projects that are multi-million dollars and end up with, you know, 10,000 for a small project. So you want to make sure you go for big ones and little ones.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Anybody in Zoom? Richard?
Anybody else? All right.
I'm seeing a few more here on the digital questions.
Okay. Can you read them to me? I just see, oh, I see, there it is. I have to, sorry, my bad here. There we go. How are invasive species considered natural hazards? Well, they're natural. So we look at different plant species. We look at different species that are killing our trees. And they are considered by FEMA to be natural hazards. So we do look at those. I always forget every time I do this to hit this.
We have one question here. Rita, did you want to get to the mic?
Yes.
You just have to go to the mic.
If you,
Or
okay.
really
Yeah.
Rita Gross.
It's on.
It's on? Okay. Oh, okay. Rita Grossman, Depot Road. Yes, I have a question about, in that climate change is going faster than the pace of most municipal response capacity, and that in that tree canopy, I'm also the president of the Boxborough Conservation Trust, and I'm involved with conservation statewide, and the hot topic right now is nature-based resilience response to climate change, and so tree canopy is really important. What happens if, due to existing zoning, a landowner pursues, I'm talking about a commercial landowner, is pursuing a plan that meets existing zoning code, but is environmentally catastrophic or potentially catastrophic? And I'm not talking about wetland setback, I'm talking about loss of tree canopy, and also loss of upland. That wasn't mentioned, but drumlins are super important for water recharge, and we're a well-based community for the most part. So I was just wondering, that's not a rabbit out of the hat answer, so.
Well, this plan wouldn't cover that per se, because that would be up to whatever zoning regulations you have and whatever your planning board decides to approve. So, but the plan will cover if it seems like you should update your zoning or whatever bylaws or regulations you have. We will, through the capability assessment, recommend those changes that could be made, and those will show up as mitigation actions if your hazard mitigation planning committee agrees they should be.
Okay. I mean, I think the planning board's trying to tackle some of this stuff, but again, the pace of change versus
Right.
what a landowner might be legitimately able to pursue
Right.
is
So,
not
but that,
necessarily
it
in
will be
alignment.
in here as something, remember I showed
Okay.
you that list of 4 types of mitigation actions, and local plans and regulations is the number 1 possibility in that list, so that will be included as something that can be done.
Okay, thank you.
But it wouldn't, right now, if somebody's trying to go for something, the plan doesn't exist to help them yet. And then the question in here about how often you need to update this plan, every 5 years. So you need to have the plan approved by FEMA every 5 years to be eligible for that funding.
And if I may respond, Rita, I think one of the things that we could do is we have gone through the MIPA ones too, right? Sometimes there is existing zoning, but we still want to make sure that in terms of the environmental protection, that they follow those guidelines. So that is one avenue. The other one is really sitting and working together with those folks, right? I think we want to make sure that we are communicating and in the end, coming up with a solution that probably is kind of okay for both the town as well as the person who's trying to pursue whatever they are trying to pursue, right? So I think we'll have to go within the rules and the guidelines, but at the same time, negotiations can go a long way. Having a good dialogue. Yeah. Mike, did you want to add anything more to?
No, I think that covers everything I can think of.
Okay.
I was going to put in
Kirby.
Rita Grossman again. I just want to put a plug in for beavers, and I live on a road that does flood in extreme situations, and the flooding is caused by beavers. However, in drought, beavers are fabulous because they preserve water, open habitat water that's super valuable for a lot of species. So as we go about thinking about negotiating with the beavers, that we try and identify the most sustainable ways of doing that.
Absolutely. I can promise you that the plan I write does not advocate killing the beavers. All right, any other questions that I can answer? So I'll share this presentation with Alec, but he is my primary point of contact, so you're welcome to reach out to him with anything. And also there's my email, so you're welcome to reach out to me if you have questions. Frequently meetings like this get the wheels turning, if you will. So if you think of something, we're all ears. And we appreciate you having us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Great.
Alex, to jump in.
You guys looking at me?
Did you have anything to add, or you good?
Not a whole lot. Jamie really sums it up well. I've said this before. One of the reasons I love coming to work every day is because I get to work with experts like Jamie, who oftentimes are far smarter than myself. So I turn to those experts to help us make critical decisions like this. I will give a quick plug, though. You heard Jamie mention at the start that we continue to build out this hazard mitigation planning committee. We have a few people on deck who will be invited already to our January and upcoming February meetings to assist in the analysis of this plan as we start to really develop it. I am going to be sending out to the select board to invite a member of the select board to join us on the committee as well. So I recommend kind of letting that percolate, and at your next meeting potentially taking it up as an action item. But we'll be really building this out as we reach the second half of the process. Myself and many of the other staff have been putting a lot of critical time in to understand our existing capacity and capability. And now as we move into the plan that's going to be very unique to the community of Boxborough, we'll be looking to really diversify the base of your viewers. So With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. Another quick plug. I just want to thank those members of the committee who were able to join us tonight. Right off the bat, I see Chief Shefchik, Chief Gray, and Lieutenant Patriarca. So appreciate your time tonight and appreciate everyone who was able to join and participate.
Thanks, everyone. All right. So next agenda item is the spring 2024 election calendar. Is Becky doing a
I
presentation?
think she's on here and she's going to guide us through it. You see her on there?
She there?
If she's not there yet, she does plan on joining us, so we may want to take up another, we could jump to the licenses.
Do we want to do the licenses? Yeah.
Sure.
I know. So, are we doing it like more like a consent agenda, Mike, for the licenses?
I think you want to, let me see here. Yes, you can do them like consent. So the alcohol license renewals, you can do all 4 of those.
Okay. So as a time-saving measure, what?
I'm
Did
ready
you
to
have
say,
it?
I'm ready to.
You're ready to say,
hold.
okay. Okay.
Well, I just had a concern. I spoke with Mike about this earlier.
Should I
about one
go
of them.
through the ones and then you can hold the ones that you want to hold?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So as a time-saving measure, we will consider these annual renewal licenses using a consent agenda. I will each board member, if they have any licenses they'd wish to hold, and then accept a motion to approve each license type as presented, except those with the hold. Those with the hold, we will go back and take up each held one by one. So the alcohol license renewals, it's Boxborough Regency LLC, Oscar's Burritos, Mexican Grill Incorporated, Robert Hirsch,
Robert Hirsch, that's the grapevine.
Hold.
Yeah, I just need to speak to that a bit.
Okay. Hold on, Robert Hirsch, Boxborough Liquor Corp. So we can go through the 3 and then come to this one?
Sure.
Okay. I move to approve the liquor license for the Boxborough Regency LLC, Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill Incorporated, and Boxborough Liquor Corp. For a term ending December 31st, 2024, and contingent on an approved fire safety inspection for Boxborough Regency LLC and Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill Incorporated.
Those fire safety inspections are both scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay, all right. And then,
Oh, okay.
do I have to go through this before he seconds, or the victualler?
No, you can go ahead and vote on these if you like,
Okay.
the alcohol licenses.
Just a
Alright.
question. Have they
Yes.
all been paid for? Like, are they all current?
They're all up to date on taxes and payments,
So all of them on all these lists, or?
everything.
Okay.
There were a few things that were outstanding 2 weeks ago, but as of today, they're all current.
Did you have any other questions for those 3?
No, I have no questions for those. So I've looked at all of the stuff, and it seemed like they were all in order.
Oh, okay, all right. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And now do we have to take up Robert Hirsch?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
point I want to make about Robert Hirsch is that there was no listing of the policy on the workers' comp form. That was left blank. So Mike and I had discussed that earlier, and I think we would approve it, pending his, or we would approve it, but we wouldn't give him the certificate until he produces that. I just wanted to make sure
So
that
they
was.
do have workers' comp, we just need to see the copy of the
Copies of
certificate
those,
before we
okay.
have it
Yeah.
out.
So how do we make the motion? Like
Um,
pending those, or like,
Yeah, I think you can vote it, and we just wouldn't hand out the actual license until that's.
okay, so we
you
can
You
continue,
can fully approve it.
approve,
Sure,
okay.
yeah, it's just different from the others, that's why I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. So I move to approve the liquor license for Robert Hirsch for a term ending December 31st, 2024, and contingent on an approved, term ending December 2024. they don't have to go through the fire one, right? Fire safety inspection?
Correct.
Okay,
They're all set with that.
so, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 And of your next batch for the common victual licenses, we're waiting on one thing, and that's for Harvard Sportsman Club, we're waiting for the permit to operate a food service establishment. So the same thing, I think you can move those all through. We wouldn't hand out that license, if approved tonight.
Okay.
Until we get that. We do expect it, it came in a little bit late last year, but prior to when they needed to get it for the new year.
Okay, all right. So the common victualler license renewals are Boxborough Regency LLC, Bumblebee Pit Stop LLC, Oscar Burritos Mexican Grill Incorporated, Harvard Sportsman Clubs Incorporated. I move to approve the common victualler license for Boxborough Regency LLC, Bumblebee Pit Stop LLC, and Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill Incorporated for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then, what's the next one? It's the public entertainment on Sunday?
Yes. Do you?
Oh, and do we have to do the food permit too, right? For those,
Yeah, that's,
so we did the alcohol license, the
Yep.
victualler
and you did the food,
renewals.
the common vic.
No, I didn't do the food one,
The
right?
common vic for Harvard
For-
Sportsman's Club, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you just did, the food for those four, right?
Yes, I did the four, but like, do I have to do this one separate? There's a separate motion. I did this one. Do I have to do
Yeah,
this
you
one
have to
too?
do
The
Oh, I see.
contingent on.
Contingent upon the.
contingent
Oh, I
upon,
see.
I have to do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one
sorry,
motion,
I
okay, no
misunderstood.
problem. I move to approve the common vic license for the Harvard Sportsman Club Incorporated, contingent on an approved food permit from the Nashoba Board of Health for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we got that. And then the next one is the public entertainment on Sunday at Boxborough Regency LLC.
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve the public entertainment on Sunday license for Boxborough Regency LLC for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we have the in-holder license for Boxborough Regency LLC. I move to approve the in-holder license for Boxborough Regency LLC for a term ending December 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we have the Class 2 used vehicle dealer license renewals for Alpha Trading Services Incorporated, Asset Group of New England LLC, CBK Automotive Repair Incorporated, Win Group Incorporated.
Second.
Okay, no, I haven't moved it yet. I move to approve the renewal application for the Class 2 vehicle dealers license for Alpha Trading Services Incorporated, Asset Group of New England LLC, CBK Automotive Repair Incorporated, Win Group Incorporated for a term ending January 1, 2025.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right. And then the last one is Class 1 vehicle dealer's license renewal for Alpha Trading Services. I move to approve Class 1 vehicle dealer's license for URAL Trading Services Incorporated for a term ending date January 1, 2025. Second?
Second.
Okay, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And what is the next one?
The next one
Mike?
is something that we just have to provide to ABCC, and it's for a seasonal population increase. because we don't have a seasonal population here, we estimate it at 0.
Okay.
So you want to just make that motion. It's something we have to send in with the paperwork to the
Okay,
state.
I don't have to read this one, right? Do I have to read this? The 7E?
No, just
Just
here.
the motion, right?
Correct. The motion.
Just a motion, okay, all right. I move to estimate that the temporary increase in the resident population of Boxborough as of July 10, is it 2024?
2024.
2024 will be 0.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so good.
With Becky.
If he does all the seconds, you can copy and paste.
Yes, yeah.
Becky's here now, if you want to go back to the elections.
Okay, so we'll go back to the agenda again, right up on top, which is the spring 2024 election calendar. And she's also going to, Becky will also be doing the hearing on the opting out vote, or that is just a motion?
She can give you her recommendation.
Okay,
And then you can make a motion, whichever way you decide.
okay, all right. Go ahead, Becky. Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on, somebody has to
Can you hear me?
unmute her.
Yeah.
I was unmuted.
Oh, okay, now we
Me?
can hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry I wasn't here earlier. So I think I'm not really making a recommendation, but just wanted to bring up the option because every year now that the Votes Act of 2022 has passed, the select board has the option to hold a hearing to opt out of vote by mail. If we don't hold a hearing and we don't vote or anything, we will just go ahead and have vote by mail for the May 2024 town election. For all the other elections, just to make sure everybody understands, all the elections, state and federal, the primary and the November and September elections, those are all going to have vote by mail and early voting, no matter what we do. We have no say over that. So it's just for our town election in May that you have the option to hold a hearing and discuss whether you want to opt out of vote by mail. I don't really have a recommendation. Last year we did end up having vote by mail. The select board voted to hold vote by mail. And so, as I said in my letter, there's last year we had 74 voters out of 894 voters chose to vote by mail. I mean, I encourage people to come in person on election day whenever they can. And just remind people that there is still absentee voting in person, and you can request an absentee ballot to be mailed to you. So in effect, you have all the same options if we opt out. But it's, either way, I don't think it's not a huge cost. It is some time that it takes for us to do all the processing of the applications and the ballots, but that's, basically up to you to discuss whether you want to hold the hearing in order to discuss opting out of vote by mail, or if you want to just do nothing, vote by mail will happen.
What do you
Well,
say?
I had a conversation earlier with Becky about it, and there doesn't seem to be a significant cost associated with the town. I'm very much in favor of getting as many people to vote as possible. So I would favor, having both options.
I mean, if it was 800 votes and 74, that's almost 10% of the votes. So I guess it's valuable to people. That's my opinion.
Yep.
Wes? Okay, so we are going to not make any changes.
Yep.
We're going to continue.
Yeah, so you don't have to make any motions on that. The other provision of that act was that the select board appoints election workers, constables, and if we have police at any of the elections, that the select board would be designating who the police officers would be. And so my recommendation for that is just to delegate those duties to myself to choose the constables and the police chief. Okay. So that's typically done every year, and you can vote to authorize us to do that for every election in 2024.
Did you have anything else, Becky? Or like we just have to go ahead and vote on the calendar as well as the authorization to the chief and the town clerk for the police?
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay, all right. So I'll start with the calendar, right, Mike?
You don't have to vote anything on the calendar because.
Okay.
Correct, because that was just if there was going to be a hearing, if you were going to opt out of the vote by mail.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
Correct, Becky?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we've ever voted on the calendar. That was just more for information purposes.
Yeah, that's.
It says this one is separate, and then there's vote by mail, that was separate. So I didn't know, like, if I have
So
to.
that's if you want to opt out.
Opt
then
out.
these
But
are the
then
dates you
what?
can do the hearing.
Oh,
The hearing for opting out.
for opting out.
I don't-
But this is,
Right, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I
do
don't,
any of that.
I don't know
Okay.
that we have to
All right.
vote on the
You wanna jump
calendar.
right down to
is that right down to that one?
7A.
Okay, all right. So I move to authorize police chief and town clerk to designate officers and constables to staff all 2024 elections.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Becky.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. So the next topic is discussion of the regional school deficit and Acton override. Is Adam and Maria, are you guys?
No updates since last time.
We met?
No, he just said there's no update since the last time.
I have no update since the last time we were here.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I know, sorry. And I was just going to do a quick recap of Tuesday's meeting that we had, a joint meeting.
sure.
Because I think it's important that, is this okay? Oh, okay. All right, because I think it's important that people who watch your meetings may not have watched our meeting.
many,
And Adam's here to correct me if I say something wrong. So just the long and short of it is, we know that the region is looking at I think, $11 million deficit at this point for level service funding, and. Okay, sorry.
9.3, I thought?
Yeah,
Was
9.3
it?
deficit,
Deficit,
but,
yeah.
yep, there's a $3 million revenue gap. So the town of Acton is looking to go forward with an override. They've not decided on the amount of the override. They've not decided on, how much of that override, once they get once they decide on an amount, we'll know what the school will get as part of that override if it should pass, and then we'll be able to set our budget. I think Mike and I talked, and we have a placeholder at the 6.9%, because that would be, presuming that would be if the override fails, this is what the assessment would likely be, just so we can get something in there in the budget. And I think that's it. We're just waiting for ALG, the Acton Leadership Group, to vote next Monday, the 18th. Okay, so we're just waiting for the Acton Leadership Group to decide if they're going to do, what number they're going to do for an override, so we can actually do our budget. Unfortunately, we're a little in flux on our budget, because we can't get the numbers from the region, because they have to get the numbers from ALG. So I think that kind of, that sort of, is a recap of what happened at our last meeting, I believe.
Yeah, and the majority, like almost 3 million is from the
Yep,
Acton
3 million,
Trust, right?
3.2 million is from the Acton Trust, and the Health Insurance Trust, which is part of that, is a big portion of that is a letter that was sent that said, you're part of the trust. I guess they didn't say demanding, but you need to pay in because we're insolvent, and the 23.5% mid-year premium increase that's taking place in January, and the school committee voted at their last meeting on Thursday that they would cover that cost for the employees.
Through June, right?
Through June. And then there is another 23.5% right now increase for next year.
So the 22.8% increase effective January is the same that goes into next year. So it's not another 22 on top of that.
No, okay, it was.
Yeah, it goes into effect this January and it stays through. It doesn't increase more, but it does create a compounding effect on the school's budget for FY25 because that 22.5% is significantly higher than the 5 to 8 to at the most 10% that we've seen in previous years.
Yeah, and the other big increase is like the 2.7 for the special ed, and then
Yeah.
the inflation, like
Correct.
around 750,000.
And I just want to provide some clarity here. We're not waiting for the Acton Leadership Group to come up with a number. We're waiting for the town of Acton, for the municipal side, to come up with what their costs and expenses would be in support of an override. The district is putting together actively right now what we would call the A budget, which is what we believe we need to operate with the override funds. And then obviously the B budget is what you're carrying as a placeholder right now, which is the 6.9% increase over last year.
But that said, until they pick an override number, you don't know what your A budget's gonna look like. You know what you want it to look like, but you need to know what that override's gonna be.
We are trying our best at the school side to drive that because our need is greater than what the town of Acton's need is. And so the gap for the school district is larger than the gap for the town of Acton. We want to talk in facts and not opinions. So that's true. And so we're working very hard, and I would say the school committee is working actively to influence the town of Acton and the select board to hurry up and get their number out so that can be presented to the Acton Leadership Group, and that group can then come to a consensus on what is a palatable override number for the town of Acton.
Could you speak to the difference between, and I don't mean 1.7, but the difference between a 9.3 deficit and $11 million gap? I mean, the gap versus a deficit, it sounds similar.
So the deficit is where we don't have the money to fill. So to carry over level services with all the costs that came from this year into next year, it's about $11 million more for the school budget. But there is a way to raise funds, which is the sort of standard increase in tax levies to both towns. That plus the additional revenues that come from the state, which are a pittance, that gets us about $2 million. And so the 11 off, then the 2 off of the 11 gets you to that 9 million number. So the deficit, what we don't have to provide level services, is the 9.5 million. We do have 2 million out of the 11 that we would need.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm speaking in extremely round numbers.
Yep. No, that's good. Thank you.
I think that's the important thing for both of us to say. Up until some decisions are made, right? These are all very round numbers, and the region normally doesn't even have a budget this far along, this early.
Yeah.
So we're usually kind of just throwing in, a number into the budget as we go forward into Budget Saturday, and the region somewhere is got a date somewhere in the middle of January where they come up with a number. So for when we talk about our budget, with respect to our budget, the school number is gonna, we're just sort of taking a stab in the dark, 6.9. And depending on Adam, who's, communicating as much as possible, but really, we don't normally even have this number this early. So that's really important. So a lot of these numbers are big round numbers.
Any other questions?
No.
Anybody in Zoom land? No?
No questions.
Okay. All right.
So the next one's on there is the community spotlight, and that's scheduled for 9. Sam is planning to be here at 9, so maybe we can
we are ahead
pass
of.
over that for now and come back to it.
Should we do announcements or like public input? I would say we'll probably wait, right? Because if people saw the agenda and are coming late to give their input, should we do the announcements?
Sure. I just have a couple of quick announcements. Do you have some as well?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All right. All right. So, moving on to announcements. The first one is the annual town warrant is open until next Monday, December 18th. Please submit your placeholder to townadmin@boxborough-ma.gov. Santa is returning to town on Sunday, December 17th from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., escorted in a Boxborough fire engine and other public safety vehicles. A schedule of stop locations will be published closer to the date on the town website and fire department Facebook page. We will be collecting food for the food pantry during Santa's trip around town. Any questions can be sent to Captain Jason Malinowski at jmalinoWski@boxborough-ma.gov. 3. Community Services has started holiday support for Boxborough residents. Please consider donating gift cards, Market Basket, Target, Walmart, Visa gift cards, any kind of gift cards. Please contact Wendy Trinks at Town Hall or by email at wtrinks@boxborough-ma.gov. And you have some?
Just a couple of real quick ones. So next Monday night is our next select board meeting. I think on the website it says the 27th or 28th. That's been changed to December 18th. There will be no select board meeting between Christmas and New Year's. At next week's meeting, I'm planning on presenting first proposed budget to the select board and the community based on what you just heard in the discussion of a 6.9% increase in the school budget over last year. So it'll be very high level. It won't get granular. We're not to that point yet, but at least to put budget priorities in front of the board. Two other things about meetings. There is the opportunity for other boards and committees in town to televise their meetings via hybrid, recorded. The town has purchased equipment to do so in this room as well as other meeting rooms, the Morse Hillberg room, the library, etc. We have owl cameras and a television screen that we do that. Any boards, committees, or commissions that are not already recording their meetings, please contact administration or cable access to be able to do that. And one other thing, there has been some money invested in this room to make the acoustics better. We understand it's not perfect yet. One of the things we're looking at is physical layout on how can we best position screen people, microphones facing the screen so that people who may have hearing impairments will be better able to hear our meetings and the dialogue, especially when we get multiple boards and committees into the same room. So we're working on that. Expect to see some work on that over the next couple of months. That's all I have.
Dave and Wes, do you guys have any updates, reports from committees?
Well, Sam Anderson says, I assume that's who that gentleman is who just walked in. I would tell you that I reached out at the last meeting. I had a slide with where there were openings. I sent an email out to the chairs. I received some responses. A couple that were interested in presenting. Some said it's not a good time to try to increase, which is fine. We're just really doing this to support the various committees. So I would say, you know, we the next time we will do it will probably be in January. Will be the next committee to come in. So Sam is here.
Before that, I just have one question for Rajan and Mike. Do we have, like, are you guys giving updates on, like, the open positions?
Yeah, yes. I was actually going to give an update.
John's going to do that this evening.
Okay.
So just give it an update on...
No, go ahead.
Is there anything else?
No, that's fine. Yep.
Okay, all right, okay.
So for recruitment, so with public safety, we actually extended an offer for a full-time police officer last week. They signed off on the offer letter. That person will be coming in front of the board on next Monday with a start date.
Okay.
That's going
Do we have any idea, more information about that candidate? Or like... our future police officer? Where is he coming from?
Yeah, so I don't have the information in front of me, but
He'll be at the meeting next
he'll be at the
Monday,
meeting.
Is this the
next
one that
month.
we approved last time, or no?
This is a new officer.
Those two have already started.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so the new officer will be coming in from the board next Monday. or-
Full-time? This will
Yeah,
be a full-time?
full-time
Okay.
officer. We also have a full-time firefighter who will be starting in January. That person will be brought forward by interim Chief Gray for the new year. Well, their start date will be after the new year. Just an update on the assistant town accountant. We have received one application for the position currently. For the finance director / town accountant, we're working with consultant. Talked with them last week. They're putting together the advertisement for the position. They're going to send the advertisement over to Mike and I for approval, and then they're going to advertise it this weekend.
Okay, how long, I mean,
So-
how long will they advertise it for?
So-
Because I know, I'm thinking it's Christmas time. How many people are really going to be looking at?
So the recruitment
Posting,
period, they're
so-
looking
A
to.
lot. So
They will be?
The new year, like typically you get paid out, or, and actually fine, for the commercial world, January, a lot of people switch.
Switch, okay, all right.
Probably for municipal, it's all throughout the year, but probably at the end of a fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah, so the recruitment period they're looking at is December and January. When I talked to them last week, they have a couple of candidates who are potentially interested. They're generating some interest, but they plan on bringing the candidates that they best see fit to us by the bid looking. Once it's
Okay.
advertised. And
Rajan, how long do they keep the posting active? Like, I mean, is this contract that we are getting into with this company, is that like for the position, or is it for a set time frame? How does that work?
So it's for the position.
Okay.
They recommended 30 days, but we can run it longer if we like.
Okay.
So if we wanted them to run that for 45 days or whatever.
Is there like a change in pricing then with, like,
There is, but it's not significant. It's really just based
Okay.
on the advertising, not the recruitment end of it.
okay. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And there's another, so for our department assistant vacancy that's going to be occurring this week, we look to work with an employment firm to essentially have someone who will come in from now until the beginning of FY25. This is actually a good service. So they'll actually fund the person for us. This is going to be a full-time position. And in fiscal year 25, if we're interested in bringing that person on with us, then we'll take on their salary. But in the meantime, they'll cover their salary, they'll cover their benefits. They just invoice us on a weekly basis for that person.
This is for the,
So this is for the vacancies for Council on Aging, Community Service, and Rec.
on different.
Oh, okay.
So now, how many open positions do we have in the police department? How many do we have in the fire? After with these two hires that we are doing, how many are going to be left?
So fire, this is going to be a brand new position. So this isn't.
This is the one that got approved?
Yes.
In the town meeting, okay. So then they're fully staffed once this person
Yeah,
comes
this will
up?
be additional staff on top of what they
Okay,
currently have.
they won't have any openings. On the police side?
So on the police side, I believe it is 3 or 2.
Wouldn't it be one, because if you said two at the last time, and then they're just hiring somebody?
No, because we had someone who just accepted a job somewhere else. I think we're still down 2.
Okay.
Okay. So, Rajan and Mike, can we also get like updates on like, so looks like we got another resignation then?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Any other questions on the open positions?
No, I don't have any questions on the open positions, but I do have a question for the two folks here. The Steel Farm stuff, I'm just curious to know how we're progressing on the ice house and on the farmhouse itself. Are we
Yeah,
Do we
so-
have an update on that? That we
Yeah,
can
so
share?
the farmhouse, I actually notified the contractor who won the bid that we're gonna award a contract to them. So just in the process of putting the contract together, sending over council review, and then send them the contract award. The ice house, just need to, based on, and follow up with John Skinner on making sure that we have a complete scope of work together to go ahead and advertise that project.
Okay, and do you have any, do we see anybody, any suggested names for that work of contractors?
For the ice house?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, all right. All right, thanks.
And that's all the updates I have.
That's the updates, okay. Anybody have any questions? Anyone? No? Okay, so.
Ready for
Yeah, presentation from the conscom?
Yes, I think we have a couple of slides in the packet, I hope to display that Sam put together.
Thank you, Sam, for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this. I'm just gonna hold this.
There you go, yeah.
So yeah, I'm Sam Anderson, Chair of the Conservation Commission. I was pleased last week when Dave reached out to me, saying that we were gonna figure out how to feature some vacancies up around town. So he and I put together a couple of slides that I think you were saying might air on the local access.
I was just talking to Kirby
Yeah.
about that, trying to get that, how we would get that on there.
Okay. Yeah, so I appreciate you, the opportunity for that. So yeah, the commission has 7 seats. We're down 2 members, so we have 5 right now.
John, do you have the presentation, or?
And anticipating at least one other potential vacancy coming up, and this is an issue that's going to sort of probably continue over the next year or two. It's a here we are, good, okay. No experience or background necessary, just an interest in protecting Boxborough's wetlands. That's the main task of the commission. We issue regulatory permits for projects that occur in or near wetland resource areas in town, as well as manage the town's conservation land, but that is less time-consuming and less strict. We meet twice a month, first and third Wednesday at 7:30. The meetings I try and keep to an hour and a half. Sometimes they bleed to 2 hours, depending on what comes up, what kind of hearings are happening, the length of the discussion, that kind of thing. And very occasionally, members will have to do permit writing. We sort of pass that responsibility around. So sometimes it might be an additional half hour to an hour in between meetings, sort of on your own time. But otherwise, no other obligation. That said, because we are holding hearings and issuing regulatory permits, attendance is required on a regular basis. Obviously, members miss meetings here and there, but that's something that we've had to manage this year. You know, pushing hearings, getting waivers from applicants, that kind of thing, just to make sure that we had quorum from sort of hearing to order throughout. So that's sort of been the hoop. We've had a couple of, we lost the 2 members. We had a full slate for about a year. Lost the 2 people over the summer, and we had a couple bites, but it was just the time commitment that was hard for people, especially young people my age, people with young kids. A little bit of a tough sell. So we've been having a little bit of trouble getting any bites recently. So I would appreciate any help from you and from town staff on promoting the vacancies and making them, making it known that we're looking for people interested in this stuff. As I say here, anyone, can reach out to me directly. I don't mind, the way that I've kind of done this is, people are interested, but they don't really know what the commission's all about. So I'll grab a coffee with them, grab a beer with them, whatever, and, talk about the commission. Apparently I'm not that good of a salesman, but that's okay. I'm happy to take the time. I feel like that's part of the responsibilities of being the chair, is sort of taking on some of the recruitment responsibilities. So I've been taking the time. So if people can feel free to reach out for me. And one thing I would say to the staff here is that when I've talked to people about what the next steps are in applying, they say that they can't find or don't know where to find the statement of interest form for residents wanting to be on boards and commissions. So that's why I put this on that slide, but maybe you know, it's on more of a banner on the website or something that's sort of featured or highlighted, because this it's not
moved to the front.
It's not super obvious what that is. I mean, I think it's kind of a technical term anyway, resident interest form. It doesn't, you know, maybe it needs to have some sort of verbiage on there that says interested in, you know, helping your town, click here,
right?
yeah,
Like
something like that.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, a little feedback that I gotten from the people that I've been trying to recruit. But for the meantime, I did a little screenshot of the town website there and put a circle on it so that people know what it is. So that's my spiel. Happy to answer questions or talk to anyone.
So it must be difficult if you're down 2 people and one person doesn't show up for a meeting, you don't have a quorum.
So our quorum, actually, it's a good question. When we went back and forth with Becky and a couple of the other town staff on it, the quorum is 3. It is a majority of members, not a majority of seats. But we did have an issue with one permit this fall where one of the members was in a butter, so recused himself, and then another one of the members was out of the country for a month, and we issued the permit with 3, but it's just didn't make me all that comfortable doing that. It didn't make me all that happy. Just so that's
Okay.
Sam, the 5 members that are there currently, how many of them have been there for a while? So, like, I mean, in terms of longevity, so people might want to know, like, how much can they learn from?
Yeah, I mean,
like, rely on?
one's a professional and has been a conservation agent and has been on the commission for a long time. 2 of us are new to town government.
Yeah.
A third is new to the commission, but not new to town government. And a 4th has been on the commission for a while, but not quite as long as Dave has.
So you have a mixed group, which is excellent,
Yeah.
right? Like you have people at different levels.
Exactly, and some people know, like Liz knows how this town government works, but doesn't necessarily have a lifetime of experience on the Conservation Commission. So it's like it's a good mix of experiences. I do land policy professionally, so I have some experience in the world, but don't have a ton in local government. So it's a learning curve for me too. And I'm only lived here for about 2.5 years, so I'm also new to town, which is also an interesting learning curve.
How often does your committee meet?
Every other week, or first and third Wednesdays. Every so often, especially in the winter, less permit activity in the winter. So sometimes if there's no hearing scheduled, we'll skip a meeting. So we're not going to have one on the 20th, as it happens. But that's sort of infrequent. That's really only if there's not a lot of activity. There are regs that say, you know, how soon we have to have hearings, and of course applicants want us to move with some pace, and of course a lot of them are in front of other boards as well. So there's sort of we need to keep paper moving and keep things moving.
And do you guys meet in person or hybrid?
No, right here.
Yeah,
we do. We have not met hybrid.
Okay.
I joined after the pandemic rules, I think, had gone away. So in my time on the board, which is only about 1.5 years, we've not had any hybrid meetings. I think we'd be open to it. I don't know what the bylaws or what the state laws say about that. It might help with recruitment. But
it'll give people a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
There's
we
no
did,
issue.
we did
like
Zoom an applicant.
Issues,
We did Zoom an applicant on once.
Mhm.
The engineer wasn't in town, and then I felt we really needed to have a hearing and not continue it again. So Alec helped us set that up, and that was sort of a one-time thing, but it's clearly doable.
Yeah, I think that might be something to consider.
Yeah.
I mean, majority of you can
Yeah,
still
I'm not
meet
sure
in
if it's
person,
on-
but like
I'm not sure if it's on you guys or on us to come up with our own rules and raise it. I'm not sure whether I
How does that work?
Whether
Mike?
I have the authority to go to hybrid, I'd be happy to raise it at the next meeting.
You can, you, as a committee, can vote to do that. And
Technically, it's just the chair, right? It's just the chair, because the chair is the one who schedules the meeting, so you can decide unilaterally. I mean, it's not a way that I would do that.
Yeah.
But it's really up to you, and so there's just a few nuances when you run a hybrid meeting.
Is it a burden on town staff? Is it an additional cost, or is it, like, does someone have to be here for that? What's that look like?
It's not, and I can talk to you about how you might do that. You can actually run hybrid meetings where we don't have to have any town staff or actually cable access staff. You can record and then upload your recording. So that's possible. We have portable cameras. They're called OWL cameras.
Yep.
They look a little like that, but they're kind of different. They stand on a tripod, and those can record your meeting, but you can also bring in people virtually, so you can do a hearing and so forth. And we can talk about how exactly to do that. That's certainly possible.
I'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting on whether or not we can do that. Like I said, I've only been on the commission for a little over a year and a half, so I wasn't familiar with some of the pandemic era ways and means, but yeah, I think it might help. And it certainly helped with some of the applicants, I think. Sometimes we're not, the decision to come to a meeting might not be made until an hour before the meeting. So sometimes people are really driving a long way and getting here.
We found that it can be helpful when you have engineers and attorneys.
I'm sure Bill would appreciate it.
To be able to bring them into a meeting remotely, even if we're all here in person.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll put it on the agenda for our first January meeting to raise to the group that it's a possibility.
And if you do find someone that kind of sort of interested, I think one of the things that helped me was, like, I attended, like when I first started with FinCom, I wasn't a member, but I attended quite a few of their meetings first. And just to listen and watch and then decide if it's something that I wanted to do. So
we had one person attend and even give like a little pitch, like he was applying for a job, like we were going to say no to him. It was a little bit of a dismal meeting. It was, I don't know if we scared him off or what, but I don't know. It happens, yeah, exactly.
Plus, Rajan had quite a few people that went through the Citizens Academy, and a couple of them did mention, I think there was one that mentioned about Conscom. Not Conscom, Conservation.
Feel free to give them my email address. Dave and Mike have my number. Like, feel free to, I don't mind, call myself. I'm around.
If your commission does decide to do remote meetings, you want to connect with Rajan.
Yep.
He can train you how to use the equipment, and check the stuff out to you. So that's possible. One other thing I want to say about Sam, I think he was the chair for only a couple of weeks, and he got into a thorny issue that Rita talked earlier about wetlands and how important they are, and he handled it superbly and to a really nice outcome. That protected the wetlands, protected a resident, and I think he did just a tremendous job, right out of the gate as the chair. So
I appreciate
nice
that.
job.
I inherited a couple thorn bushes, but we're working through them. I think we have two are sort of settled, one not yet. But we'll get there. Cool.
That's great.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for coming.
And let me know if those slides need any update or we can.
Yeah, no, we'll, I'll be talking to Kirby about them, and I'll show you whatever it is we put together to.
Is Kirby that guy?
Yeah, Kirby, yeah, the man behind the curtain.
Thank you.
All right.
You don't have to stay for the rest of it unless you. Okay. I mean,
All right.
if you want to.
Should we do minutes, approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm ready. Have you guys had a chance to review the minutes? I know.
Yep.
Yes. Did, so I have a couple of comments about the minutes that were written in there. I don't know if you can bring that But there was one statement in there that said that I had asked the chairs, but I was saying that I will ask the chairs. I mean, I hadn't done that before presenting in there, so it was, it's just changing that to the future tense. I mean, and I was in the past, because I did it, but as it's written, it's not accurate. The other point that was in there.
Oh, where is it?
Okay, so it says, McCann said, I don't know, yeah, you can kind of poke around and you'll find it. But anyway, it said in there that I asked, but I had not asked, so it's not accurate. But the other point that that's kind of like one that I want to emphasize, and it's at the top maybe of page 3, the next page, radio, maybe keep going. No, it's right there. Member McCarran stated that he would like the town to continue to improve on its opening in the police department. That's not really what, I'm not really sure what that means, but that really wasn't my point. My point in the discussion was that, Member McCarran and I expressed concern about the turnover in the police department, and that I wanted our town administrator to turn his attention to this, to focus on it. So that's really, and I mean, I'm sort of saying it again, it sort of got kind of left out a little bit on the review, and then it got kind of left out a little bit on the minutes. So what I'm saying is, I think that the vacancies in the police department are very important, and I think that, I know the chief is working on it, but I would like a town administrator, Mike, to just keep a close eye on it and monitor that to make sure that he's getting whatever the support he needs to kind of to move that along and be successful. That's
even though it was a little bit misconstrued in the minutes, you'll be happy to hear that I'm giving my full attention to that. I am spending a lot of time with the chief and looking at, we have refreshed the ads for the police officers, and we are actively, as you can tell, we've just brought on 2 who started in the last 2 weeks, and one who'll be starting. What's the starting date for the officers coming in next Monday?
Start date is
21st, is it?
Yeah, the 21st.
So within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know, that's good.
So I am
Thank
focusing
you.
on attention, and I know it needs the attention.
Yep. Okay.
So I can entertain a motion.
A motion to approve the minutes as amended.
As amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 The next thing was public input, because that was supposed to be right at the beginning, but because we had Citizens Academy, we had to move it to the end, because we already had the mitigation plan pre-scheduled with a time, so we couldn't move it.
Okay. So we'll take public input. Public input shall be given to folks with 30 minutes allocated on the agenda. People who wish to speak will be asked to raise their hands during the public input time, so all can be recognized. The assistant TA will make a list of the people who wish to speak. All attempts will be made to alternate between people physically in the audience and those attending via Zoom. Each person will have 3 uninterrupted minutes to speak to the board. If questions are asked, the town administrator will follow up or post to a future agenda as appropriate. Each person will be allowed to speak once per meeting. If more than 8 people wish to speak at any one meeting, and if the time allocated is reached, public input will be continued, I guess, to the end of the meeting, but today, obviously, we are at the end of the meeting, to allow for the board to adhere to the agenda timeline. This is out of courtesy to those who have been assigned times to meet with the board and to allow for the work of the town to be completed in a timely manner. It will also ensure that all who wish to speak will have the opportunity to do so. All right, so, Becky has, We'll start with in-person, and then we'll switch to Zoom.
Becky Neville, Middle Road. Two things. First, you alluded to it earlier, and I just want to acknowledge Cindy Regan, who's retiring after her service to the town this coming Friday. She's the department assistant for the COA. She's the first person you reach out to if you want to go to the senior luncheon or if you want to sign up for yoga or something. So I know Owen and I really appreciate her service to the town. And the other one is Officer Christopher Lowney, who's resigned and is going to another community. Owen and I really appreciate his commitment to community policing and all he's done for the police department. And the other thing is, I think last time I was here, Mike said he was going to bring it back to this meeting, and I didn't hear it. Fire chief? Because I had asked about that, and you said you were going to come back to this meeting with something, and I didn't.
Yes, I'm not prepared to this evening.
Okay.
I do need to talk with the board first.
Okay, all right.
But that is something I will come back with.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else in Zoom land? No? Anything? All right. Gone. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.